Core Web Vitals are a set of metrics introduced by Google to measure the real-world user experience of a web page. Okay, I come across a project where a client wants to migrate their current website to WordPress. We took the current benchmark of the website. The result for desktop was 90 plus, but the mobile score was below 70. We used a WordPress VIP standard Gutenberg-based theme, block theme, where only essential items get loaded on the website. Okay. But still, we also need to consider some other factors which is newly introduced in the website. Okay. We need to delay the third-party scripts. When we are using the sliders in the first fold, only the first slide gets loaded. And when the user clicks on the next arrow, without even user noticing there is a delay, the next slides gets loaded. Okay. So these small points, improvements which resulted in the overall website speed. And when we look at the statistic, the desktop score was desktop and the mobile score. Both the scores were in the range of 96, 98. Okay. So, if we consider, I mean, if we take care of the basic essential things, we will be able to take our scores and make a better experience for the users. Okay, so let's understand what are the things affecting the core web vitals on a web page, what are the parameters to it, and how we can improve it. Okay, so hi, I'm Akshaya Rani. I work as a project manager at Multidots, and I'm here to share my learnings with you. Let's get started. I will keep this piece as from the layman's perspective also, so that even if you are not technical person, you will understand. Now, what are the parameters that affect the core web vitals? Okay, you can consider it as a loading performance, interactivity on the website, the visual stability of the website. Okay, now from the technical terminology, let's understand individual parameters. First one is the largest contentful paint. LCP. Okay. Now LCP measures the time it takes for the largest element which is present in in your viewport. Okay. Let's say you are viewing the website on a desktop or a mobile or an iPad. Okay. Whichever section in your viewport, whichever section which is displayed, it is called as a first photo. Okay. Now whichever sections which is taking a larger time to load or a perceived, it is also called as a perceived loading speed. That is affecting largest contentful on the fit that is affecting LCP on your LCP parameters or the CW. Okay, if it is taking more, if it is taking less than 2.5 seconds, it is good. Anything which is taking greater than 2.5 seconds needs an improvement. Okay, now what are the factors that could affect LCP? First one is the slow server response time. Okay, whenever you hit the website page, okay, the website sends a request to your server, the hosting server. Okay, and the time it takes to respond for the first time it takes to respond, it is called as a TTFP, and the first byte to respond back. That is even slow. Therefore, the entire rendering is slow, which is the most common affecting factor. Then some the assets present on a website, which is essential for beautifying or you can see for the interactivity on the website, which is affecting the website. Mainly, I'm talking about the JavaScript and the CSS file, which is loading on the background and affecting the website content rendering speed. Okay. Or if the image or the video is all which is present in the first fold, it is of a larger size, and therefore it is taking time to load. Or there are any third party resources which is required and which is taking time to load. Okay, so these are the common factors that could affect the LC. The next parameter is interaction to next page, INP. Okay, INP measures the latency of all the clicks, keyboards, tabs, interaction of the page throughout the lifespan of the page. Okay, basically it measures how quickly your site is responding to the user activity. Okay, INP was introduced in March 2024. It replaced the first input delay FID parameter. Earlier it was a FID parameter. Now, what are the factors that will affect INP? Like there is a heavy JavaScript execution that is going on, and or unoptimized event handlers. Okay, we'll look at the individual example at the later stage, but these are the typical points which affects the INP interactivity of a user and affecting the user experience on the website. Next is a cumulative layout shift. CLS, if it is less than 0.1 second, it is good. If it anything above 0.1 second, will needs an improvement. The common factors or effective example is, let's say if there are ads or embeds on a web page, okay. Let's say the page gets rendered, the user is reading some article and some ads gets loaded in between. This shifts the user, it shifts the content, okay. Therefore, user lose the track where it is, the pointer basically what it is, what he or she is reading, what they are reading. This is a typical example of cumulative layout shift. This could happen because of the image or video that gets expanded later stage. Let's see the web fonts are loading in a way that creating a flash out kind of experience for the user or any dynamically injected content about the full. Okay, let's see some banner gets pops out or some content is added. So that affects the cumulative layout shifts, the CLS, and affecting the user experience. Okay. Now these are the three factors which on the basis of which core web vital scores are getting calculated. Okay. Now let's look at the general tips which we can consider to improve the overall stability or improve the website speed. First is the high performance hosting. Okay. So this will help in reducing the TTFB, the first time to response by the server. Some of the hosting provider also comes with a CDN caching mechanism. Okay. Now CDN is helps to store your static assets on the web page. Okay. It could the web static assets, I mean the images, the CSS file, the JavaScript file. Okay. Now, let's say any of the user is visiting our website, whichever is the geographically nearest location that from the user, that will serve these static assets. Okay, so basically, CDN is a robust network that will copy this static asset on a various geographical location, so that it will be handy to serve the user and will help essentially in the website speed performance. Caching strategy we can implement on the website. Okay, browser caching, the object cache, okay, Redis cache. Okay, now how it helps basically for each website request. Whenever any user visit your website or any other web page, the it sends basically the request to your server. And the header gets paged, the content gets paged, the footer gets paged, and then the entire website is gets loaded. Okay, to avoid this, if let's say if the entire web page, if it is a static web page, say it is a news article, okay, the entire page can be cached, browser cached, okay, or it can be cached basically, so that the server request can be avoided, and data can be served through caching. Okay. Now, whenever any data gets updated, the cache version also gets updated, so you don't need to worry about the freshness of the content. Okay. And last is the database optimization. Okay, so there could be post revisions which are present, older post revision which you don't require it, or there could be data in the transients which is saved for a temporary purpose that needs a cleaning. So regular database cleaning essentially helps in the improving the website speed. So a blotted database can slow down the server response time. The database optimization will basically help in improving the website speed. Okay. Now, these are the general tips. Let's look at the individual tips. First one is the largest contentful paint. Let's look at how we can optimize largest contentful paint LCV scores. First one is the image and media optimization. Okay, you can use the next chain images like the WebP or AVIF that will serve faster. Okay, yeah, the image that gets loaded on the desktop. Okay, and the image that's required for the mobile view is has a different dimension to it, has different sizes. Okay, so if you are loading the desktop version on the mobile, that will affect the mobile speed. Okay, so use attributes like src set or sizes, so that respective version of the web page and respective version of the images gets loaded on a depending on the devices the user is viewing it. Use lazy loading for the images and the videos. Okay. Remember, you are not applying the lazy loading for the image present in the first full section. Okay. Next one is optimize the CSS and JavaScript execution. Okay, you can use modification of the CSS or combine the CSS files to reduce the number of HTTP requests. Okay, the unification basically helps so that a smaller size of the files get fetched and made for the browser execution. Similar factors is applicable for the JavaScript also. You minify the JavaScript. Okay, you load, you defer the CSS and JavaScript files, basically, which is not required for the first fold section. Okay, and when which part is required for the first fold section, which is called as a critical CSS parts. Okay, so you load the critical CSS. Essentially, you align the critical CSS. That will be helpful, which is minimal and helpful for the site speed and the rendering experience, and you delay the JavaScript execution. Okay, you basically so that JavaScript is not blocking the rendering of the web page. Okay, and preload the critical assets. Okay, you can use link relation as equal to preload. Okay, which is required for the critical path images CSS. Okay, and that you can use this parameter to preload the asset, and this will improve the largest just contentful P. Okay. Next, let's look at the optimizing interaction to next pane, INP. Okay. You reduce the third party script impact. Okay. How we will reduce it? You audit the script first of all. Okay. Make sure the third party script is not affecting the first fold section. If it is not affecting the first fold section, you can use async or defer attribute so that it will load in the background and it will not affect the web page speed. Okay, you minimize the main thread work. Suppose you are using the some of the largest computation. You may be sorting some large array data, or you're running some complex search algorithm. Okay, that that requires a lot of computation. Okay, suppose any other JavaScript function is taking more than 50 seconds, then you try to convert it into chunks so that it can run in parallel if possible. Okay, and this will also improve the website speed and optimize the event handler. So example is, let's say on the web page, on the web, let's say there are navigation items. On each of the navigation items, something should happen. Okay. So instead of adding a event handler for each of the navigation item, okay, if you add it on the parent element, and that will improve the event handler. That will optimize the event handler experience, and it will improve the website speed also. Okay. Basically, it is helping in the portal events or debounce events. Okay, avoiding excessive complex. So these are the points which typically help in optimizing interaction to next page. Next one is optimizing for cumulative layout shift. Okay, you simple steps you can perform is to define the image width and image and video image, the width and height attributes wherever applicable, so that it will take that the web page will understand, and once the image and videos are available, it will not basically impact the user experience by shifting the content. Okay, if there are add-in units or if there are embed contents, you make sure you add the minimum height or minimum width or attribute where as per the requirement. Okay, so that it will not hinder the user experience. You optimize the web font. You can use the font display swap property. Okay, so basically before the custom fonts is available, you use certain fonts, and when the custom font is available, it will basically tells you to swap the fonts. Okay, we essentially recommend that you preload the fonts or host the fonts locally if possible, and limit the font variations. Okay, and avoid another point is avoid dynamically injected content. Sorry, avoid dynamically injected content about the food. Okay, let's see some pop-up banners or consent forms. Okay, it should not be added about the food. Okay, now this way, if you implement these strategies, it will help in optimizing the community layout shift. Okay. Now, which all tools you will consider? And see, Performance Lab is one of the plugins which is present in the WordPress that will help improvise your website speed. Okay, I would highly recommend you go with it and utilize it. Now you can check the website feed on a Google PageSpeed Insight. This will this basically to provides both the data, the simulated environment and the real world environment. It is sometimes it is a 28 days average. Okay, so it displays the data like if it is a 28-day average data or if it is a current data. Okay, so make sure you look at it. Suppose you have done the optimization on the staging side, and if you deploy it on the live production side, because of it is taking a 28 days average, the score could be different, okay, but it eventually will be visible when if you after a certain time period, okay. Now, to review the latest bit, you go with the Lighthouse kind of a tool, which is built into the Chrome developers tool. And there are other tools which are available, which will tell you the current speed at the moment. Okay, in the Google Search Console also, it also lists out the pages which requires improvement, which are poorly performing pages. So which need slight improvement, something that sort of data. So you can concentrate on those pages so that the overall web page speed and overall site user experience on the website experience is improved. I hope you got the essential things, which all factors affecting the CWP score and how you can tackle it. And, thank you for listening to us. In case you have any doubts, you can get in touch with our team and we'll be happy to help. Thank you so much.